Hey guys, welcome to this video where I address my top 10 favorite movies currently. Now, I want to explain that when creating this top 10 list, I wanted to include a wide variety of work spanning different categories, and not just have the majority of my list be Wes Anderson films, because that most likely would be the case. With that said, let's dive in. Sitting in my number 10 spot, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. What more could I say about this movie? I remember watching this for the first time and just wanting to rewatch it over and over and over again. I love how hilarious and different it is. The fact that you have these unlikely characters being brought together is so entertaining. I literally can't help but laugh every time I watch this movie. I think that it is the best Guardians movie. This one really set the bar for superhero movies, in my opinion. It brings so much entertainment and excitement, and I love this movie so much. Number 9 is Dunkirk. This movie is so stunning. I feel like I'm one of the soldiers on the beach every time I watch this film, and I love just the historical significance of it. Christopher Nolan does a great job of just bringing us a slow burn movie that is so impactful and inspiring. I love World War II films. It just makes you appreciate what others went through. Number 8, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. Now, I know some people are going to disagree with me on this one because you look at the Lord of the Rings movies and those are way better. I get that. But this one is nostalgic for me because I grew up watching all 3 of these movies in theaters with my dad. And this one in particular was the most compelling for me. And I remember sitting in the theater after watching this one and just being like, when do I get to see the next one? Is it really over? Like, I just love the adventure and just being brought to another world, and experiencing this in theaters was phenomenal. Number 7, Rogue One. The grittiness of it, the intentionality, and the acting is top notch, and this is just everything that I want to see in a Star Wars film. There is a clear story, there's a clear plot, where I feel like some of the other Star Wars movies tend to include lots of lightsaber fights, which I am not a fan of. Anyway, so this movie kind of brings me back to the original trilogy. It's just cinematically stunning in every way. Number 6, 1917. The way they're able to trick your mind into thinking that this is one continual shot is just mind-blowing to me. I always get emotional when the soldier is singing in the forest at the end of the movie. I love how you get to follow really a couple days of this soldier's life in World War I, and I see a lot of World War II movies, but it's great to explore the world of World War I and just what these guys went through. Number 5 is Tarzan. Now, this is my all-time favorite Disney movie. I, as a little kid, would watch this movie over and over and over again. I wanted to be Tarzan, and I actually was living in Africa at the time, and so after I would watch this film, I remember I would run around the house on all fours pretending that I was Tarzan. This one has an amazing soundtrack, and it just gets me inspired every time I watch it. Number 4, Dune Part 1. When this first came out, I wanted to see it so bad that I went to the theaters by myself and I sat in the first 2 rows, and I was looking up and just mesmerized at this story. And it was so compelling for me because just watching the trailer and seeing how this felt like a different movie. It felt like something that was going to be big. And so even though I hadn't read the books, I was so compelled to just go and watch this movie and find out what happens in this new world. I love Denis Villeneuve's work, especially Blade Runner 2049, and just the way he's able to create a film that isn't cliche. It's different and inspiring. It's just a moody movie. It gets me inspired. It gets me fired up about the sci-fi genre. And this had to live in my top 10, no doubt. These movies only come about a couple times a decade, and this one for sure is one that is very memorable and going to literally keep movies alive. I love it. Number 3, The Adventures of Tintin. Now this one, oh man, I absolutely love adventure movies, and specifically this one, I can't get over the animation style. It's kind of like the Polar Express. It just feels nostalgic. You've got mystery, you've got suspense, you've got pirates, you've got planes. It's just a very entertaining world to immerse yourself in. All right, number 2 is Fantastic Mr. Fox. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that I probably, if it were up to me and I didn't pick different genres for this top 10 list, I would have Wes Anderson movies. Probably like 80% of it would be Wes Anderson movies. But this one is so special to me because this is the first Wes Anderson movie that I watched. Every time I watch a stop motion film, I'm blown away by how it literally is a composition of individual pictures and moving puppets for those individual frames to create a feature film. It's just mind-blowing to me. I love how the fur moves on the animals, and Wes Anderson just brings this childish but like super entertaining and quirky, compelling story that I love coming back to. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, honestly. I could watch this movie on repeat, and this is one that I'm definitely going to be showing my kids. Sitting at my number 1 spot, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. The cinematography in this movie blows me away every time I watch it. The acting is superb. I have had this movie number 1 on my list for as long as I can remember. This movie inspired me to go out and explore and also to get into the creative field. Every time I watch this movie, I'm like, yes, I understand why this has been my number 1 movie for so long. It never gets old, and it inspires me beyond anything else that I've seen. The color palette, the way that it's intentional with like a static shot at the beginning, representing that Walter is kind of stuck in his own world. And then once he gets out and explores, you see the camera start to move. So if you haven't seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, I highly recommend giving this one a watch. That's my list, guys. Let me know what you think of these films. Feel free to share your top 10 in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, watch more movies.